Okay, and welcome back to this video. So I left you on the last video to actually run a commutative property to see if, in fact, matrices are commutative. And I hope that maybe even before you began, you realized that that's not possible. That you're not going to get the same thing with commutative property. There is no commutative property of matrices. You do have to multiply them in order on that. But there is an associative property of matrices. And so it is just like of your real number system. What it simply says is that I can take matrix A times matrix B, and we do use large letters because we're talking matrices, and then multiply it by C, and I will get the same thing as if I took B and C and multiplied them together and then multiplied by A. So again, associative is fine. The other is associative property of scalar. What that means by there is if you have a scalar number, and they'll write it as a K, if you take A times B and then multiply it by your scalar K, it's going to give you the same as if you took K times your matrix and then times your B matrix on that. So that would also be true. So that is fine. Distributive property is also fine, and it doesn't matter whether you do it on the left or on the right. So you could take A plus B and then multiply it by C, or you could take C times A plus C times B, and you're going to get the same thing. So, and then the other is, again, it doesn't matter which way you put that, it is still going to work. Okay, so we don't really touch base with those a lot as much as we do. Probably the commutative is the one that we're going to see more than anything else. That it is going to be since there is no commutative. There are times that I say you have to set it up this way, because if not, you can't do the multiplication. So just remember that. And some of these applications also pertain to that. So we're going to run through some applications. So again, to me, this reminds me of working with Excel spreadsheets, that kind of stuff, just kind of organizing your data, your information on there. And so I would say when you're doing applications, think about what you're actually needing to multiply, okay, in order to know how to set it up. And it says the first table shown is the number of reams of paper, packs of dry erase markers, and boxes of staples requested by 2 teachers. The cost per item is given in the second amount. Use matrix multiplication to show the total. And so the question is, one, let's call this A and let's call this one B. And so do I need to do A times B, or do I want to do B times A? Okay. And so if I'm doing A times B, then I would be taking the rows here by the column here. Okay, and I'm only messing with the numbers. So would that be the right way? That's if I'm doing A times B. So that would take 6 reams of paper, and I'm multiplying it by 15, the cost of the paper. I would take 4 boxes of markers times the cost per marker, 5 boxes of staples times the cost. So yes, that is the way. If I had looked at doing B times A, okay, B times A, then one of the things about it is I would be taking, okay, B times A, I would be now doing the row here times the column here. And in this case, that's not possible to do that multiplication. So it would make sense to do A times B. Okay, so this is a 3 by 2. This is a, sorry, my bad. This is a 2 by 3. See, I shouldn't do this when I'm tired. This is a 3 by 1. So my answer will be a 2 by 1. Okay, a 2 by 1. I should leave more space here. I'm not going to close my brackets up just yet. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is 1, 1. So I'm going to take first row, first column. So I've got 6 times 15 plus 4 times 4 plus 5 times 250. Go ahead and close that up. And then you're going to get your number, okay? And go ahead and take a minute and run that in your calculator and see what you get. And I got $118.50, but do double check my numbers. Okay, now the question is, what does that represent? Well, I took Mr. Smith, what he wanted to buy, times the cost. So in this case, this is Mr. Smith. Where are we at? It says, find the total cost of supplies for each teacher. So Mr. Smith, his cost for his supplies was $118.50. Okay, let's do Mrs. Willis. Okay, so we're going to take row 2, column 1. Okay, and again, run your numbers. And then that would be Mrs. Willis's cost. Okay. Okay, see if that makes sense. Now, number 19 through 22. This is the students at Oak Hill High School are selling bags of popcorn for $10 each, tubs of cookies for $12 each, and baskets of fruit for $16 each to raise money for the school. The number of each item sold per class is shown over to the side. So it says if they earn 15% profit on each item they sell, use a matrix multiplication to show the profit earned by each class. So they're going to make a 15% profit So if they're selling their bags of popcorn for $10 each, but they're only making 15% of that. Okay, now there is several ways you can do this, but it might be easier to just think, okay, out of the $10, how much money are they making? Okay, and so in this case, they would be making for popcorn $1.50, 10 times 15%. Okay, so 10. Let's write it this way. So 15% of 10. So that would be $1.50. And then we've got 15% of 12 and 15% of 16. Okay, so figure out real quick what each of those would be. Okay, remember that'd be 0.15. Okay, so that would be $1.80 for cookies, and the fruit basket would be $2.40. Okay, so that's their profit that they're going to make. Okay, so the question is, when I go to set this up, let's call this first one here matrix A. Okay, and I've got 60, 84, 45, 75, 58, 28. Oops, I did not make that big enough. 40, 63, 18, 91, 47, 32. Okay, and so the question is, when I go to calculate out, because I want to know the profit that they're going to make, each class and the profit that they make. I'm going to need, and so here's the question I'm asking you is, do I need to put my profit here? Okay, so think about that. Think about what multiplication is taking place. Can that multiplication take place? So the first thing would be to say, well, this is a 3 by 1 and this is a 4 by 3, so definitely I can't even multiply it that way. That's not possible. So this is not to be set up over there, so don't set it up that way. Okay, if I set it up over here, oops, my pad of my is dying. Okay, so now does this work? So this is a 4 by 3, and this is a 3 by 1. Yes, I can do that, and my answer will be a 4 by 1. Okay, now let's talk about the multiplication that takes place, guys. When I multiply 60 times $1.50, because that's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to take all of these times all of these. So that is taking 60. I'm going to, whoops, wrong thing. I'm going to come back over here. So I'm going to take, and make sure I'm multiplying the right things together. I'm going to take 60 times $1.50. Does that make sense? So 60 was the popcorn for the freshman class, and the $1.50 was the profit for popcorn. So that looks good. And then I'm going to take 84 times $1.80. Is that good? So 84 is the cookie dough number was sold, and this is the profit for cookie dough. So it looks good. And then I've got 45 times 240. Okay. And then that's going to give you your answer. Okay. Oops, sorry. I closed that up too fast, didn't I? Well, and I wrote it. I should write it this way. Sorry. I was doing it so I could multiply it, but I should write it this way so that it makes sense to you guys. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so what we're looking at here is this amount, okay, would be for the freshman class. Okay, that's going to be how much the freshman class made. And then I'm going to continue this on, and now I'm going to go do my sophomore class, how much they sold, and the profit they made. Okay, so that's going to be your next line item. Okay, and that's your sophomores. Okay, does that make sense? And then you're going to need to figure out for juniors, and I didn't make my graph big enough, my matrix I should say, and then you're going to need to do seniors. Okay, so juniors, seniors. Oops, me and my screens, they just take off from me all the time. Okay. I got those little pads to put on my pen so it didn't, that tap, tap, tap that it used to do. Anyway, but the rubber's messed up. Okay, so you can go ahead and finish that out again. Sorry. That is the amount that the freshmen made, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. And then the next question says, which class earned the most? Okay, and then give the total profit for the entire school. What would you need to do to get that? And how much more profit did the seniors make than the juniors? So answer those questions up and continue to try the rest of your applications or whatever else you have to do. It looks like that might be the last application that is on this sheet.